What is up, Ohio? Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Broulis Beat Report. I am your host, Nick Broulis, and the Broulis Beat Report is brought to you by Cafe 80s. If you enjoy 80s music, you will definitely want to check out our Cafe 80s show. And speaking of Cafe 80s, if you live in the Canton area, or the surrounding areas for that matter, you will want to be at the Ignorant Owl in Canton this Saturday night. Sound check starts at 9 and the actual show starts at 9:30. That's where Cafe 80s is at this Saturday. There are 3 ways to follow Cafe 80s. You can go to their Facebook page, and all you have to do there is just go to Facebook and type in the Cafe 80s and like their fan page. Then go to or you can go to their actual website, thecafe80s.net, and you can also get your smartphone, go to your Play Store or whatever, however you download your apps, and download that Bands in Town app and type in Cafe 80s, and you'll get email notifications letting you know. Usually it's about a week before one of their shows is going to happen. They'll send you a notification if they're going to be at a venue close to you. Well, before we get to week 10 of the NFL, I got 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 5 college football games that I wanted to go ahead and predict first, which is, for college football, it's week 11. So the season is indeed winding down for college football. Now, let's start out. I wanted to start out with, most are going to say, is the biggest game of the weekend, Saturday night, when number 1 Georgia heads to number 10 Auburn. I'm actually going to take Auburn because I still say there's going to be a big mix-up in that the seeds 1 through 4 before the season ends in terms of the college football rankings. And I think this is the week where Georgia actually goes down. Now, who knows? Will the committee will the committee come Tuesday boot them out of the 14 playoff? I don't know. But I think that Auburn is going to actually pull off the upset here and win at home. Next up, number 20 Iowa is coming off that huge win over the Buckeyes. They travel to Madison to play the Wisconsin Badgers, who are ranked number 8 right now. And I definitely think this is going to be a letdown for Iowa, and I think that the Badgers are going to absolutely destroy the Iowa Hawkeyes. Next up, number 3 Notre Dame is at number 7 Miami, Florida. And I am actually going to take the Fighting Irish in this game to get a big win on the road. Next up, number 6 TCU heads to Norman to take on the number 5 ranked Oklahoma Sooners. I say Oklahoma is going to win this game and knock TCU down the rankings in the Big 12. And then finally, number 12 Michigan State travels to Ohio State to take on the number 13th ranked Ohio State Buckeyes. I definitely think a lot of people know the history between Michigan State and Ohio State. Specifically the last 5 to 10 years, the games have been close. I think after last Saturday's embarrassment in Iowa, I think Ohio State's going to come out and absolutely destroy the Spartans. So there's my picks for that. Now, let's move to the NFL, and of course it starts tonight with Week 10, Thursday Night Football, which, in case you don't know this by now, I absolutely despise Thursday Night Football, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that there have been way more trash games on Thursday night than there have been really good games. That's my opinion. Now, to keep this in mind, there are 4 teams on bye weeks this week. The Ravens, the Chefs, or as the Chiefs, I just like to call them the Chefs, the Raiders, and the red-hot, scorching Philadelphia Eagles. Those are the 4 teams that are on bye weeks for this week of the NFL. Now, let's start out with Thursday Night Football, shall we? The Seattle Seahawks are traveling to the Arizona Cardinals, a battle of the NFC West. And because there is no more Carson Palmer due to his injury, I know Adrian Peterson has been on a roll since he signed with the Cardinals, but I think with the Seahawks and the situation that they're in, I just think that Seattle's going to be too much, and they're going to get a win on the road against the Cardinals. Now, this takes us to Sunday's games. First off, Packers at the Bears, and I'm going to be honest with you, this game's really a big toss-up for me, because first off, obviously there's no Aaron Rodgers. Then Green Bay lost one of their big offensive lineman, Brian Bulaga, I believe. He is out. I think he tore his ACL. And just recently, I believe it was yesterday, the Packers let go of Martellus Bennett, their tight end, which the Patriots just claimed him off of waivers today. And then you factor in that the Bears are pretty much playing with house money, so to speak. I mean, they're at this point, really they're playing freely, so to speak. So this was a toss-up for me, and I am, believe it or not, going to take the Bears to win this game. Next up, Steelers are at the Indianapolis Colts. No way on earth am I going to pick Indianapolis in this situation. I think Pittsburgh is going to have this game in hand probably by the end of the second quarter. And in case you haven't heard, Andrew Luck is done for the season, and I've even read multiple articles on the internet that say he may never play again. I don't know. So, if you're a Colts fan, what do? I mean, I know they picked up Jacoby Brissett, but I just can't see Pittsburgh losing this game. But then again, I couldn't see Pittsburgh losing was it week 2 when they went to Chicago and lost. So, any given Sunday is the phrase that they like to use, but I am taking Pittsburgh to rout Indianapolis. Next up, the Los Angeles Chargers, I'm finally starting to get used to saying that, are at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Alright? Well, guess what? I am actually going to take Jacksonville in this game. I think they're on a roll, and I think they finally have figured things out. Next up, Saints travel to Buffalo to take on the Bills. And I don't know what it is, but the Bills just seem to play very well at home. So I'm going to take Buffalo in this game. Actually, I think I had the Saints to finish last in the NFC South. Or it was either them or Atlanta, one of the two. Next up, Jets are at the Buccaneers. And what a disappointment Tampa Bay has been for me personally. I know I had them winning the NFC South this year, and now Jameis Winston, the quarterback, has been shut down for quite a few weeks now from what reports are saying. So I'm actually going to take the Jets to get a win on the road here. And for the record, if you read my AFC East predictions, I had the Jets as possibly losing every single game this season. Well, that's obviously not going to happen now. So I have the Jets winning on the road in Tampa Bay. Next up, Vikings at the Redskins. I'm actually going to take Minnesota to get a win on the road. Bengals travel to Tennessee to take on the Titans. And I'm going to take the Titans to get this win on the road. I think Cincinnati is just in a free fall right now. I don't see Cincinnati getting a win on the road here. Texans are visiting the Los Angeles Rams. And the Rams are on fire. Jared Goff looks great this year. I actually wanted the Browns to select him coming out of the draft a couple seasons ago. And, well, you see what happens when you get a good offensive line and some wide receivers around you with a good running game and a good offensive scheme. Look what happens. Well, in other words, hello, Cleveland. I think you get what I'm saying. So I'm going to take the Rams over the Texans in this matchup. Next up, the Cowboys will not have Ezekiel Elliott when they head to Atlanta to take the Falcons, but nevertheless, I am going to take Dallas to get a road win down in the ATL. Then, Giants visit the San Francisco 49ers, and believe it or not, as bad as the 49ers are, I am going to award San Francisco with their first win of the season. Yes, I have them beating the New York Giants. Then the Sunday night game features the New England Patriots at the Denver Broncos. And as I just told you a little bit ago, the Patriots claimed Martellus Bennett back off of the waiver wire. So that's just another weapon for Tom Brady. And even if he wasn't playing, I'd still take the Patriots. I think that they're getting close to finding their groove, especially defensively. Then the Monday night game has the Miami Dolphins traveling to the Carolina Panthers. And even though the Dolphins are playing relatively well, I'm still going to take Carolina because they're at home. I think that they're going to get the W. Then, finally, the hometown game. Well, the Cleveland Browns travel to the Detroit Lions. And if you didn't watch my Broulis beat report talking about the Sashi Brown press conference and Josh Gordon, I also went in depth about the Browns at the Lions and kind of gave you a preview of that game. I'm naturally going to take the Detroit Lions. They just came off of a huge win in Green Bay. They destroyed the Packers. And I don't see how the Browns are going to manage to pull this game off, especially on the road against a good quarterback, against a decent good defense, and an offense that's, relatively clicking on all cylinders for the most part. So I have the Lions sending the Browns to 0-9, and they will be the only team to have no wins by the time Week 10 of the NFL season comes to an end, because as I said earlier, the 49ers will get their first win when they beat the New York Giants. Well, that does it for this edition of the Broulis Beat Report. I do appreciate you taking the time out of your day to either listening or watching the Broulis Beat Report. And also, before I go, if you haven't been on Phantom.com lately, you will want to check out my latest Cavs article and pretty much talking to Cavs fans about why they need to be patient when it comes to the team. Well, with that being said, that does it for this edition of the Broulis Beat Report. And until next time, have a good one, everybody.